Hi, I'm Lango, and this is Investor Place Quick Picks, where we communicate to you some of the market's best investment ideas in just 10 minutes.
America's leading innovation investor, Luke Lango's Investor Place Quick Picks.
Today, we're going to talk about one of the most promising tech stocks in the market. That is the eyes behind the self-driving revolution. The name? Luminar, ticker LAZR. Now, Luminar is a fascinating company. They're building what are called LiDAR sensors, or laser light sensors that beam lasers out into the world and measure their return flight time to construct a 3D representation of an object's surroundings. Of course, the big application of this technology is with cars. In order for cars to drive themselves, they have to see. And cameras cannot do the trick alone since they are inherently low res. And adding enough cameras to give the car high enough resolution would generate far too much data for a computer to handle or process. Thus, the future of autonomy is a full stack solution that includes LiDAR, radar, and cameras. The LiDAR is the most important piece of that stack because it's the only sensor that can efficiently construct a high-res near-field image of the car's surroundings. Now Luminar? Well, Luminar makes the best LiDAR in the world. Doesn't take a genius to connect the dots here, guys. Luminar is a very, very important player in the self-driving world. And long-term, it will turn into one of the industry's largest technology suppliers. That's why we love Luminar stock long-term. This is a multi-bagger over the next few years. Here's a deeper look. So, nearly 100 years ago, a Czech physician and novelist by the name of Miles J. Breuer predicted the future. In his 1930 science fiction book, Paradise in Iron, Breuer invented the concept of autonomous vehicles, offering up this idea of a mysterious paradise island where all the cars, trucks, and boats drove themselves. Of course, over the next few decades, autonomous vehicles became commonplace in science fiction, from the KITT self-driving car in the 1980s TV series Knight Rider to the Johnny Cab in Total Recall. But their existence was limited by the borders of movies and books. Until now. Over the past decade, relentless innovation and multiple technological breakthroughs have set the stage for the exciting science fiction concept of self-driving cars to finally become a disruptive reality. Semi-autonomous cars are already on the roads conducting test drives in various cities throughout the world, including Phoenix, Detroit, Boston, Berlin, London, and many, many more. Fully autonomous cars not too far behind. Indeed, in China, fully autonomous vehicles without any driver in the car are already being tested. It truly is only a matter of time before these semi-autonomous and fully autonomous cars go into production mode and end up in the garages of consumers all across the globe. So, what's the best way to play this emerging self-driving revolution? By investing in the core technology, which is making all of it possible: LiDAR. The key to unlocking full autonomy, as stated earlier, is to enable cars to have complete vision. Or more specifically, to give them a human-like ability to see and respond to their surroundings. Ideally, you want to do this with built-in cameras, since cameras are space and cost efficient. But computer vision, which is what you get from cameras, has significant limitations, which have proven very difficult to overcome. So it has become commonplace across the autonomous vehicle space to equip cars with add-on laser light perception sensors called LiDAR. The science and engineering behind LiDAR are quite complex, but at a high level, the idea is pretty digestible. LiDAR sensors beam out lasers to their surroundings. Those laser beams hit objects around the car and then bounce back to the sensors. The sensors then either carefully measure the travel time of those laser pulses, which is called the time of flight approach, or a change in frequency of the returning light wave, which is called the frequency modulated continuous wave approach, to create a proxy for distance. Now, do this thousands of times in a 360-degree frame of view and voila, you have a complete and dynamic picture of the surrounding environment. Now, that sounds pretty neat, right? It is. It's very neat, but more than that, it's revolutionary. Revolutionary enough to create the building blocks upon which Brewer's utopian concept of self-driving everything becomes a reality. Luminar is the best independent LiDAR company in the world. The company has leveraged multiple technological breakthrough innovations to develop the industry's best LiDAR sensors, and it's not even close. Luminar sensors feature max resolution of 300 pixels per degree and 250 meter range. All other independent LiDAR sensors in the world have a max resolution of less than 100 pixels per degree and a range of less than 150 meters. Luminar's LiDAR also has greater than 200 meter range in rain and snow and suffers from zero interference from sunlight or other LiDAR. In essence then, Luminar has built the industry's only viable long-range LiDAR. Now, what's more is that Luminar has figured out how to make this high-performance LiDAR at industry-low costs. Thanks to some innovative manufacturing techniques and early investments in cost, Luminar has figured out a way to install its LiDAR sensor into a car for less than $1,000, a milestone which no other LiDAR maker has yet accomplished. So, with Luminar, you have the performance and cost leader in the LiDAR space. That, no doubt, is a winning recipe. It should be no surprise then that Luminar has leveraged its best-in-breed technology and cost leadership to score tons of auto industry partnerships. 7 of the top 10 passenger car OEMs have partnered with Luminar, while most major programs in trucking and robotaxi have done the same. Altogether, Luminar has 50 commercial partnerships, which represent 75% of the global passenger vehicle, trucking, and robo-taxi ecosystem. Many of those partnerships are in advanced stages. 2 of them, one with Volvo and another with an unnamed customer, are in the series production phase. Indeed, Volvo projects to start producing semi-autonomous passenger cars with built-in Luminar LiDAR in 2022. That will begin a huge growth phase for Luminar in the auto market, from being a testing company today to being a company that is making LiDAR for tens of millions of vehicles every year by the late 2020s. But the auto market is only the beginning of the Luminar growth narrative. The reality here is that Luminar is much, much more than a self-driving company. It's an automation company. LiDAR sensors are the building blocks of an autonomous economy. They succeed where cameras and other sensors fail. Resolution. The reality is that the resolution of visual data received through other sensors is quite low. LiDAR sensors rely on laser beams with very short wavelengths, and therefore produce high-res data. Because high-res data is mission critical to safe and reliable autonomy, LiDAR sensors will emerge as a foundational technology of the autonomous economy. Of course, the most obvious application of this cost and performance-saving technology is in self-driving cars, obviously. In that space, Luminar has won a handful of big contracts, including with Volvo, Daimler, and SAIC, China's biggest automaker. But the value of a world-class LiDAR extends well beyond self-driving cars. After all, anything that you would theoretically want to automate could use a LiDAR sensor, and therefore, in the long run, Luminar's LiDAR sensors could make their way into every transportation vehicle in the world. not just cars, but planes, helicopters, trains, ships, jets, and drones too. As validation of this, Luminar just scored a huge partnership with Airbus, the world's largest aerospace manufacturer, to develop a suite of technologies for autonomous flying. So, I repeat, this isn't just a self-driving company, it's an automation company. And as an automation company, Luminar has an enormous addressable market, since the sum of the transportation market measures in the trillions of dollars. Yet Luminar is worth just $8 billion today. And that's why we believe Luminar stock has mind-bogglingly enormous upside in the 2020s. Well, that's all we have for this edition of Investor Plays Quick Picks. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, smash the like button. Until next time, cheers and happy investing to all.